Matt Ryan get a no thank you.
Yeah. It's that too. You got Trevor Siemian. Who's the? It's like something Boyle. That's like the third
Tim
quarterback.
Boyle.
Yeah,
I
Tim Boyle.
don't even know if he's playing on the team, but I know that right now with the situation they got with Zach Wilson, it is probably the worst thing that could happen because, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is this guy that obviously he's almost like above all other quarterbacks in the NFL at the moment, and you're Zach Wilson, you're going into your third season, and you see this guy coming in, and you're trying to learn from him, but, I mean, you're not expecting to start because obviously you got an Aaron Rodgers on your team. You get thrown into that game one. Obviously, you guys find a win in the first game of the season. That's just a freak win against the Bills. It's honestly their luckiest win of the season, probably going to be one of their only ones. And then you obviously lose 2 of the games straight in just terrible fashion. Offensive can't get going. Defense playing well. And then you got to take calls from, guys like Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan, and you're denying them. First off, Carson Wentz, there's no doubt in my mind that he would probably bring this team to just a little bit more better than what Zach Wilson would do. But
just something.
I mean, Matt Ryan, it's to the point where he's hit or miss as well. And then obviously you're not going to be able to go to Trevor Siemian. But, I mean, Robert Saleh, he says Zach Wilson's the guy, and I just have not yet seen it. What do you think about this whole situation? Who do you think would be better, Jeremy?
Here's what I thought. The USFL and the XFL have a lot of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And a lot of good quarterbacks. There's not anybody in that league that they could have looked at and said, you know what? Let's give one of these guys a chance. Because, to be honest with you, let's look at the Bengals. The Bengals signed A.J. McCarron again, and which was a great thing because I think he'll be a great backup for Joe Burrow if depending on what's going to happen here. But there is a lot of great quarterbacks. Look at the guy from the Stallion.
Yeah, McGaw.
I mean, what he would make a great. Let's bring him in. Let's let him learn our offense because whoever you bring in now to the Jets, they're behind the 8 ball already.
Yeah.
I mean, because now you're sitting there going, "Oh God, I'm having to replace Aaron Rodgers."
Yeah.
And Aaron played 4 downs.
Exactly.
And you're sitting there and you've got that on you. So I think they could have looked at somebody in the XFL or USFL, and they could have brought them in just for a 1-year contract.
Exactly.
I mean, let them go back to the XFL at USFL the next year and play. It don't matter, but you can bring somebody in to take care of this. There's a lot of guys in the USFL and XFL that are way better quarterbacks than Zach Wilson.
Yeah, definitely. From what we've seen, definitely some quarterbacks that could possibly at least try and lead a team, unlike how Zach Wilson's been playing, which has been absolutely awful altogether. But
it's wild to me, this whole situation. It shouldn't even be a thing.
Yeah.
We shouldn't even be talking about this because Zach Wilson really had just done his job as a quarterback, learning the playbook, learning the schemes, just practicing, trying to improve with an NFL pro-level squadron of coaches to help you. We wouldn't even be talking about this. He would be improved. This would just be, I feel like at worst, just an average team in the NFL. You have all these weapons, and your backup, who was previously your starter, should know your offense like the back of his hand.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeremy. Great job calling in.
Did y'all watch Hard Knocks?
Oh, I watched Hard Knocks, and I got so hyped up for it.
I sadly hadn't called an episode since episode 1.
If watching Zach Wilson on that, if watching him on that haven't told you that he's not an NFL quarterback.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers tried his best. I mean, he's giving him, talking to him. He's got Aaron Rodgers as a mentor, and he's still trying to help him out, even though he's injured. And he can't. This is the productivity that you get out of him. I think he's that guy that back in high school he was like, okay, he's good against this talent, and then it was in college he was good against whoever they played, whoever BYU played during the COVID year that made everybody think he was great.
Yeah.
But he wasn't that great because Coastal Carolina put it on him. And then now you get him in there with people that are as talented, if not more talented than him. He buckles under the pressure, and he can't take it. Yeah. So appreciate y'all guys taking my call, and maybe I can get another good hot take in before the end of the year.
Hey, mine's sizzling out right there with you, Jeremy. I mean, I was thinking Bryce. I mean, I was calling Bryce Young's going to be NFL Rookie of the Year.
Come on now. You
knew
what was going to happen with that one, okay?
There is still time.
Yeah, okay. But going back over...
There's still time, Captain Cole.
Jeremy bringing up Zach Wilson, it's great because I wanted to talk about how disastrous this currently is for the New York Jets. He watched the Hard Knocks. I watched the Hard Knocks. If you guys watched the Hard Knocks, which was a great season, I will say, one of the best seasons that I've seen, Zach Wilson in the first episode, he looked like a total goofball. I even commented, I said this guy looks like the dude that peaked in high school and still thought that he's great enough, but he actually made it to the NFL, okay? He thought, hey, maybe I am the best quarterback. And no, he's actually just good against this high school, maybe BYU talent, which he was one of the best quarterbacks in college football that last year, okay? He was sitting number 2. I believe behind him was one Mr. Mac Jones. But you look at what he's brought to the NFL, and it's been absolutely nothing. I mean, two terrible seasons, honestly, where he's just tried to have his footing. The first season he was thrown in as a starting quarterback, and it just did not work out for him. That's what happens when you do that with your players, which 3 of those guys are currently doing that this year. One of them, as Anthony Richardson, is injured. Yeah. But the hype surrounding this team, the hype surrounding that Hard Knocks season where it's just like, this is the team you need to do Hard Knocks on, okay? You got Aaron Rodgers coming in. He's going to save New York, all right? He's like Superman. He's going to save New York. And then
the Carmelo Anthony of the NFL.
3 plays into the season, you guys are all hype. Right after Aaron Rodgers goes down with the Achilles injury, that's when everything goes out the roof. I would just be, if you're a Jets fan, hold in there. Aaron Rodgers, he will try to be back. He will try to be back, but you're going to have to stand with Zach Wilson right now, and you got to help him out as much as you can, because right now the not helping is definitely not helping, because we see what he's doing. 2 pass touchdowns and 4 interceptions in 3 games. It is just not good. 52% completion rating. Absolutely abysmal for the young quarterback, but I mean, you learn from Aaron Rodgers, and you still don't really get anything out of it moving into game, whatever, and you're still looking like the Zach Wilson we saw back in year 1, where it just doesn't look like NFL caliber quarterback.
Yeah, you've been in the NFL for 3 years.
Yeah.
At this point, I feel like you should know how to just how your offense works.
NFL's tough, dude. The NFL's tough.
Okay, yeah, but C.J. Stroud's doing it as a rookie right now over in Houston.
He is, and you will find those success.
Bryce at least. Even though he's not having the performance I would have liked, is at least it doesn't look like he's struggling in the NFL.
He's all right. He's fine. He's doing fine so far.
Yeah, he's doing fine.
He plays
for
the freaking Panthers. All right,
he's doing fine for a rookie.
Yeah.
We're gonna have higher expectations next year after he's had a year under his belt, but right now he's a rookie.
Well, there's 2 different types of rookies you can get. Okay, you can get a rookie that is unknown. He comes in and he surprises everybody. A guy like Brock Purdy, who also plays for a really good team. C.J. Stroud currently is in the same situation, except for he doesn't play for a good team. He plays for the Texans, okay? They're on the rise. I will say their defense is looking better.
Yeah, Will Anderson, my goodness.
Their offense really picked up pace in that last game, but I got to say this team is not looking like it's going to surprise anybody. But what is surprising is C.J. Stroud's numbers across the first 4 games are actually in a pretty good, top-tier area. He's in the same likes in his first 3 games, okay? He was in the same stats with, yards as, the guys like Justin Herbert, okay? The guys like Cam Newton, all right? You get those types of guys next to you in the stats, your first 3 games, and you're already being looked at like you're going to be something extremely special in the NFL. And this is coming after us, knowing that, hey, he's not the smartest dude when it comes to his football sense, but at the same time, sometimes the talent can take you a long way, and right now that's what we're seeing from C.J. Stroud, but he is also a very young, very unknown quarterback that could find some success in his first year, but might be a little bit more sniffed out going into year 2, and that could be the same said with Brock Purdy, except for he's got a huge security detail around him, looking like the President of the United States on that San Francisco's 49ers field. Golly. We were supposed to talk college football this first segment, but I guess we'll do a little pushy, shovey to the second. We'll talk a little bit about both college football and NFL, and then get into the conversation with one Mr. RJ White from Sportsline.com. That's what's coming up here on the Morning Blitz on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code FRIEND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRIEND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Hunting and tailgating season is on us, and at Woody Anderson Ford, we believe it's time you got serious about an F-150. We've got nearly 150 to choose from, and without a doubt, one of the best F-150 values on the road today is our STX package. You get 290 hard-working horses, mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission that'll take you everywhere, from that tree stand to downtown Tuscaloosa. Body-colored bumpers, halogen headlamps, 20-inch machined aluminum wheels, and lots of tech too, like a rear-view camera with dynamic hitch assist, which you boaters and RVers will love. A 2023 Woody Anderson Ford F-150 STX packs a punch, but doesn't cost a bunch. You can drive one for $499 a month. $499. 36-month lease with $52.10 due at signing. No security deposit plus tax, tag, and title. Includes $399 dealer fee with your good credit. Offer ends September 30th. Call 539-9441 for complete details. Woody Anderson Ford. Hope to see you soon.
Injuries at work happen all the time in Alabama, so do motor vehicle and slip and fall accidents. If you're hurt at work or injured in an accident, I want you to call my good friends at Pond, Lehocky, Giordano. That's Pond, Lehocky, Alabama's injury law firm. They got your back just like they've got mine. For personalized legal support, reach out to Pond, Lehocky at 855-774-3838 or pondlehocky.com.
The representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Tom Abraham here for my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
The Beach Boys, live in concert, October 4th at VBC Mark C. Smith Concert Hall. The Beach Boys return to the stage. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss The Beach Boys live.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead ran away and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures once again climbing into the mid and upper 80s. A couple of folks could see the lower 90s. An isolated shower is in the forecast, but most, if not all of us, probably going to end up staying dry. We drop into the low and mid 60s through the overnight. Early Thursday morning, maybe a little bit of patchy dense fog, but that's about the only problem we're going to have Thursday morning. Otherwise, a mostly sunny sky Thursday afternoon. Temperatures once again climbing into the mid and upper 80s. We're going to continue this trend as we head into Friday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Everything you need is just a click away.
I should up sometimes, silly.
Okay, almost everything.
Come on, pal. Tell your fortune.
Log on today. 977ESPN.com. 977 ESPN The Zone.
So the Jets are a team that we can, feel really bad for. Okay, I can understand that. Sucks with what they got going on. Obviously, you lose Aaron Rodgers in the first game of the season. Don't even get to see really what he can do. He can't even go down the field and score a touchdown. His Achilles decides to go out, and obviously he's done for the rest of the season. But we can all look at the Bears, on the other hand, and say, just like point and laugh, and just, we don't have to feel bad at this team. This team's just terrible the way that they are. And we'll be talking plenty about them here in a little bit with RJ White. But this segment, we will be talking some college football. And if you guys do want to jump in, 256-5764
97.7
is the number to hop in. And Bandy, I almost said Bama and Bandy at the same time, because we're talking a little bit about what Alabama taught us about Ole Miss and why LSU may be putting the Rebels on the wrong side of the win column. Now, LSU coming into this game is a 2.5-point favorite. The over-under in this one is 63.5. Bandy, what we know now about this Ole Miss team is, yes, they have a pretty solid offense, okay, if they're not playing this Alabama team, okay? Their defense, pretty good as well, I will say. Could it be at the higher end of, the SEC? I would say yes, okay? But LSU coming into town, both of these offenses going to be churning. What we need to see from LSU is we need to see this team, just kind of play the same football they've been playing, okay? Because obviously LSU's just been stout the entire way through. But last year, when we look at this matchup, LSU came back from a 17-3 deficit at home and covered the spread. It was a 1-point. It was a 1-point spread in favor of Ole Miss, and they were able to win 45-20. Always a high-scoring game. Always a high-scoring game. Lane Kiffin's 1-2 against LSU since joining Ole Miss in 2019. So now we know, okay, he's got one dub against this LSU team. Doesn't have to be against Jaden Daniels. It's just against LSU in general. It's a tough task to ask. And then also, you look at what these teams got. Ole Miss is going to be fine with throwing the ball. They're going to chuck the ball down the field constantly. But it's going to get to a point where LSU is just going to put it on the Ole Miss Rebels to the point where they just can't keep up. They're not going to be able to keep up. And I think that Ole Miss is going to have a spectacular beginning to this game. I think we might see an early score by Ole Miss, similar to how we saw, this team lead Alabama going into halftime before just getting stomped by that insane defense that Bama's got churning over there in Tuscaloosa. But we're looking at an LSU team who will consistently score, compared to an Ole Miss team who, yes, has some of the best stats offensively in the SEC, but is definitely not as consistent as Jaden Daniels in this LSU squad. We're going to see LSU try and put up 320-plus yards yet again, because that's been kind of the consistency that we've seen. Every single game they've played so far, it's been over 320 yards on offense. Every single game. Why is it so specific? Because I can make it specific. All right? Does Ole Miss get the upper hand early? Yes. Does Ole Miss outscore the competition? Of course. What do I think is going to happen here? If Ole Miss is able to play well, keep their offense out on the field, convert 40%, at least 40% of their third down tries to really just push that LSU defense, then I think Ole Miss is going to have the best chance they could have. But at the end of the day, you still look over at this LSU team who's been converting on their third down attempts at like a 50% rate. I mean, that's just not an offense you want to go up against. And if you find struggles in the week before against an Alabama team who's been having their own struggles on offense, finally getting stuff in check with Jalen Milroe, of course, then you're going to have a even worse time against an LSU team led by, I would say, the best quarterback in the SEC in Jaden Daniels.
Well, see here.
Here, talk a little bit, Bandy. Just talk. Throw it out there.
I don't know. See, I don't have as much faith in LSU as, well, let's say you would, to win this game.
Okay.
Actually, I think it's going to be a little closer.
All right.
Because even though they have been very consistent offensively, like with Jaden Daniels having the season that he's having, it's also been shown that other teams can pretty consistently score on them, too.
And that's fine. That's fine.
I mean, they did destroy Grambling. That was Grambling.
Yeah, okay.
Their first SEC opponent in Mississippi State did only end up dropping 14 on them, which actually does have me a little bit more confident going into this weekend with the Alabama team that we saw on Saturday.
Yeah.
But besides the point, let's go to last week against Arkansas.
Do we know who we're talking about here? Okay, KJ Jefferson is a spectacular quarterback, all right? And it was a very close game, all right? If I had to say second or third best quarterback in the SEC, I'd say KJ Jefferson's in that position, all right?
It was, but this is also an Arkansas team that lost to BYU.
Yes. That is true. That is true.
On top of, how they performed in Week 1 against Florida State.
Yeah.
Which is an even bigger question mark with how Florida State's been performing lately.
Yeah. I agree.
So there are there are pretty high highs with this team with Jaden Daniels in that offense, but pretty low lows as well. It seems like allowing other teams to be able to score on them at will if they can match up physically, which Ole Miss can.
Yeah, and I didn't say that this game would be too much of a blowout. I did say that this game would be a little bit on the scoring side because we're going to see Ole Miss score, okay? They're probably going to get the first score of the game. They're going to consistently maybe score a touchdown, a half, I would say. Okay?
So
maybe some field goals in there too.
Like one of those plays where, you're all in the huddle, then you have your center line up first, but then everybody just comes in rushing behind him.
Yeah, but I don't think that, even though the defensive problems have been, noticeable on LSU's side, I still think that offense is going to carry the weight, and they're going to be able to pull out the win. Bandy, if you want to throw down a little bit of a suggested score in this matchup, what do you think it might be? Because that's the real question. Because I'm thinking around 30, 34 to, I'm going to give them 21. I'm going to say LSU wins this one.
You know what? I'm going to say they're going to be pretty consistent on offense in the first half.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is actually going to adjust. I'm actually going to say it's going to end up 31-28 Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. Okay, so Bandy's got Ole Miss. I've got LSU.
I'm taking Ole Miss at home.
We're torn in the middle. All right, we're torn in the middle. Now we need you guys to hop in and talk about your guys' picks. 256-5764.
97.7.
And that's how you get on. And Bandy, I don't think we've ever came to a conclusion where we're split on our guesses on who's going to win, especially in college football. I still think LSU's going to get it, but I love the take that you got for Ole Miss. It's just going to be a tough one, but I kind of want to move over before we get into the NFL talk to the Texas A&M Aggies, okay? Because people might be looking at this team. They're going up against an Arkansas squad after coming off of a good dub against this Auburn team that's still trying to find their offensive man, okay? They're trying to find out who's their quarterback. Is it going to be Peyton Thorne? Is it going to be Robbie Ashford? Currently, it's still going to be Peyton Thorne, okay? It's not going anywhere. Robbie Ashford, he's a talented guy, but Peyton Thorne has, I think the overall talent to lead this football team. This team just needs to get into wraps. But for a team like the Texas A&M Aggies, going up against an Arkansas team who also has a stellar offense, you don't need to be too concerned if Connor Wigman is out, because you look over at what they have at second-string quarterback, and I tweeted about this and everything, which you guys can find us both on the Twitter sphere. Bandy, you can find him at BLowery2016, and me, you can find at CPT420. I think that's my handle. I totally forgot it.
CPT Cool 420.
CPT Cool 420. That's exactly what it is. But we look over at the Texas A&M Aggies, and we see that there's a guy named Max Johnson as the second string. And usually, when you see a second-string quarterback, I like to look at the NFL for this. You don't find the same success with that second-string quarterback, okay? College football is totally different. Alabama's definitely told us that, hey, second-string quarterback talent is a good thing to have. Max Johnson is that same type of second-string quarterback talent that Alabama had maybe two or 3 years ago when they go into the SEC championship and finish it off. Like, you got Jalen Hurts and you got Tua Tagovailoa. They're just going back and forth. And then obviously, Bryce Young moves on and he does his own stuff by himself. Yeah. But Max Johnson, if you guys don't know who this guy is, first off, he's a 4-star transfer from LSU. Okay, you might remember him. I feel like you guys should. He started a handful of games and even upset a top-ranked Florida team in his very first start. He had 239 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and honestly, he's never really looked back. He's been a baller ever since he started for that LSU team. He played a handful of games. Okay, I believe it was 12 games he played for that LSU team before moving on when Brian Kelly got a hold of that LSU team. He moves on to this Texas A&M team. He goes up against, he only plays a handful of games for this team. Okay, not being a starter. And in his first real, test as a quarterback for this team, he's able to go out there and he's able to change a 6-3, game where it doesn't look like any offenses are clicking into a 27-10 wallop on the Auburn Tigers. So Max Johnson moving forward, do I think he's better than Connor Wigman? I think it's about equal. I think we will still see just as much success with this Aggies team, if not more, though, with Max Johnson because of his veteran status. I'm gonna love to see it, Bandy. And this kid, he's had a lot of fun on the field because he's also playing with his brother, Jake Johnson. Sorry, a tight end that he threw, his first career touchdown pass to. That's pretty amazing to see at that. But we got to hop into a conversation with R.J. White. That means the college football has been thrown out. We're going to hop into some NFL, and that's what's coming up here on the Morning Blitz on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Unlike other credit cards that decline sports betting transactions or treat them as a cash advance, the GBank Visa Signature Card can load directly to your favorite sportsbook apps. G.bank/VSiN.
Super Bowl 58 futures. The 49ers are now the favorite at plus 600, followed by Kansas City at plus 650 and Philadelphia at plus 750. NFL tomorrow night, the Packers host the Lions. Green Bay is optimistic that Aaron Jones and Christian Watson will play. Linebacker Devondre Campbell and tackle David Bakhtiari listed as did not participate in Tuesday's walkthrough. For Detroit, running back David Montgomery and cornerback Emmanuel Mosley listed as limited. Both teams are 2-1 heading in. Betting opened with Green Bay a 1.5 favorite, but that switched. The Lions now favored by 1.5. The over-under is 45.5. Green Bay plus 106 on the money line. Detroit minus 120. Get the latest lines and more at vsin.com.
If you work in a dangerous or logistically intense industry, you know good training can be a challenge. There are training costs, safety concerns, and difficulty replicating real-world scenarios. There's a better way used right now in the Army and in all our armed services to better prepare our heroes, and it's available to you in your organizations. Higher Echelon's Game Development Team is revolutionizing learning in military training, dangerous industry, STEM, and sports performance domains with cutting-edge virtual training that immerses you in lifelike scenarios without the cost and safety concerns for trainees. With Higher Echelon's game-based training, you'll experience realistic simulations, precision accuracy, and unparalleled safety. Higher Echelon founder Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets and puts that experience to use. His team has been building cutting-edge virtual training environments for soldiers and clients for a decade. Higher Echelon, the name you can trust for advanced training solutions. Reach out at higherechelon.com to get your free consultation. Go higher and go Army.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures once again climbing into the mid and upper 80s. A couple of folks could see the lower 90s. An isolated shower is in the forecast, but most, if not all of us, probably going to end up staying dry. We drop into the low and mid 60s through the overnight. Early Thursday morning, maybe a little bit of patchy dense fog, but that's about the only problem we're going to have Thursday morning. Otherwise, a mostly sunny sky Thursday afternoon. Temperatures once again climbing into the mid and upper 80s. We're going to continue this trend as we head into Friday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Listen weekday afternoons starting at 5 on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It's perfect!
Hello, welcome back in, everybody. John Abraham, Captain Cool, alongside the Bandiman, Bailey Lowery, on a wacky Wednesday here in No Man's Land. Now, we talked more NFL than we thought we would. We hopped into, obviously, some college football, and now we're hopping right back into the NFL talk. And on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline is a guy that does a wonderful job giving us all the intel we need to know every single week, and that is one Mr. R.J. White. He is on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. R.J., how are you doing today, man?
Good, how are you?
We're doing great in the full swing of football, and cannot complain. Cannot complain. There's like football almost every single day, except for these few days in between. That's what's upsetting. But kind of going into it, I don't want to hop into the scores just yet, but I do want to ask you how you're feeling about some of these starting rookie quarterbacks through their first 3 games of the season. Kind of just talk about the Bryce Youngs, the C.J. Strouds, and even Anthony Richardson, despite that injury he got back in week 2.
Yeah, really only 2 games for the season for everyone but C.J. Stroud, who looks great. I mean, behind patchwork offensive line, so many injuries, you would figure that he would struggle with that. But that pass game is humming. He's finding another rookie. Tank Dell is really emerging, so the two of them together is a connection to watch out for. Don't really have a ton of talent in the receiver core otherwise, but making it work. Nico Collins emerging. Even Robert Woods, who's been a nothing for a few years, has been a contributor there. So really interesting to see how well he's playing despite the injuries there and carrying them to a win that nobody expected, especially how dominant they were in that win against Jacksonville, who looks pretty awful. Yeah. The other 2, we lost them for this week, so we didn't get really any data on them. Bryce Young has looked like he struggled just because he's not moving the passing game. He also doesn't have a ton of weapons, but you look at the Houston side, and you can't really use that as an excuse. So the Panthers' passing game looked a lot better with Andy Dalton. Figured that would be the case in the short term. Bryce Young still needs to grow a little bit as a passer, but he's obviously the guy you need under center taking snaps long term, because he's going to be the guy that takes you where you need to go. Unless he busts out, but I don't think anybody really expects that at this point. And then Anthony Richardson looks great too. I mean, he's getting it done both as a runner and a passer. I think everybody knew the run element would be there, but he has looked pretty solid as a passer too, connecting with guys like Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, and some of the tight ends in the passing game. And his first game, he kind of had to do it all in his zone because the running back situation there was atrocious. Deion Jackson fumbling, averaging like 1 yard a carry. Now they got Zach Moss back. Zach Moss has been great the first 2 weeks, but we only really saw one of those with Richardson. So it'll be great to get him back under center and give Gardner Minshew just a guy at this point and see what Anthony Richardson can do leading that offense moving forward.
Exactly. And kind of looking over at this Dolphins squad with Tua Tagovailoa and obviously Tyreek Hill and going to be Jalen Waddle one of these days. He's going to be back. But they continue kind of on their war path, using obviously nearly every component of their highly talented offense to win games. But is it safe to say that this team is, viable to be one of the best, if not the best team in the league, or do we need to still see them upset the Bills at home as 2.5-point underdogs? Is that the real test for this Dolphins team?
We mentioned Tua and Tyreek and Jalen Waddle. What about the running back?
Yeah.
I mean, last year, that was kind of the situation. Raheem Mostert was there, but they weren't getting that much effectiveness in, so they traded for Jeff Wilson. Those two team up, and they're okay, but they're not great. They're still mixing in guys. And now, all of a sudden, you get 8 touchdowns between the two guys in this game, between passing and or receiving and rushing. So maybe it's 7 touchdowns. There's a ton of touchdowns from these guys. An A-Chain running for 200 yards as the rookie out there. So if he brings that speed element to that, and this is what they built around, is speed with all these guys. And if he brings that element to it, they're going to be tough to stop. I don't know that they need to prove much. When you hang 70 on somebody, you're going to be for real for some extent. I think the defense is going to be in question until, they have a really signature game. Because we saw that shootout with the Chargers. We just don't know how proven they are. No. So we'll see if they can do that against the Bills. If the defense shows up like they've done against the Bills in the past, and in those games that have been like 2017, and if they do their part and Miami goes out and scores 30, then everybody's going to say, okay, we crowned the new title for AFC East champion. It's Miami moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. And those running backs have been something special. Obviously, Raheem Mostert and A-Chain both accounting for quite a bit of productivity on that team. But moving over to another game kind of that I wanted to talk about. This one was the most intriguing one. The Chargers versus the Vikings. Very similar teams with the talent that they have. The quarterback position obviously questionable if you want to compare Justin Herbert and Kirk Cousins. But going down to the end of this one, Vikings seemed like they were a little lost, and they're a very fourth quarter football team. Talk about what this Vikings team needs to really do to really find that first win of the season, because it looks like they're trying to do everything just all in the later half of the game.
Stop fumbling the football would be one. I mean, if they didn't fumble those first 2 games, they might be 2-0. But it was just fumble after fumble that changed the course of each of those games, and really kept especially the Tampa in it when they probably didn't deserve to be in it. And then stop Minnesota from having a chance to compete against the Eagles. I mean, we know how good the Eagles are. They could have won this game too. Early fumble there hurt them too. The disorganization on the late game sequence hurt them. They really shouldn't have been in that situation because the Chargers gave them a free shot at it at field goal position for their atrocious decision making. So it's really just like a comedy of errors when these two teams are on the field and seeing who can avoid the biggest mistake. And then when they play each other, it's extrapolated even more so in the final minutes. There was mistake after mistake. You're saying who's not who's going to win this game, who's going to not lose this game, because it seems like they both try to lose the game a lot of the time.
Exactly. That's exactly what I got out of it as well. And kind of moving over to a team that I was surprised to see lose this weekend is the Baltimore Ravens as they go up against the Colts. Obviously, Anthony Richardson is not going to be in, but you do have a Gardner Minshew who is capable enough to lead a football team. But I still had the Ravens winning this one at home. What kind of went downhill for them, and what have you seen from this Colts team that's kind of just been on the up and up?
Yeah, a little bit of a fake final is what I call it. The Colts didn't play that well, 3.9 yards per play, so under 4 yards per play is never good. 8 for 22 on third downs. Really survived because of 4 field goals of 53 yards or more, including 1 in overtime and 1 with less than a minute left to play. So those situations, most kickers are going to miss at least one of those. but they make 4 of those type of field goals throughout the game to stay in it and then win it. The Baltimore, the injuries just piling up for them, specifically the offense looks like it's crawling back into a shell of the former offense it used to be. We know coming into the season, Todd Monken was supposed to come in, elevate the passing game. They bring in these receivers, Odell Beckham, Zay Flowers, and it's going to be a new look Ravens passing offense. Injuries strike the offensive line, strike the running backs, and really it's the same old same. Lamar Jackson running for 100 yards, not being able to do much down the field, throwing the ball because the line can't block for him because of the injuries. So they really need to get guys healthy and then really move toward that offense that they were trying to be, that everybody talked about this offseason. And then I think then we'll truly see what the Ravens are. But I say they need to get healthy, but it's just every year with them. It seems like by week 3, half the team is hurt, and it just you want to say it's injury luck, but if it happens every year, something's going on with that training staff. Something needs to change there.
Exactly. And then kind of moving over to this Arizona Cardinals team as they also find their first win of the season, going up against one of the best teams, at least we thought, the Dallas Cowboys. I know, obviously, they're missing Diggs, but what really is going down with this game, and why did we see success from this Cardinals team that was projected to be one of the worst in the league?
Diggs is a cornerback, and what happened was Arizona ran all over the Cowboys, and they couldn't stop the running game at all. I think they had 220 yards of rushing, something like that.
No, there's a good mix.
I think it was just a sleepy spot for Dallas. They come in, they feel like they're one of the best teams in the league. Dominant defensive performances for 2 weeks, going on the road, a relatively short road trip from Dallas, and just double-digit favorites. Feel like they're going to win this. It's going to get handed to them. They don't have to do much for this game, and then come back and really focus. So take a little bit of a week off. And of course, the Cardinals have proven they can be feisty every week. They're competing. They're now 3-0 against the spread, beating expectations every week. And because the market had treated them as historically bad for a lot of these run-ups. But when this line got to 13 for this game, I'm like, there's no way there's any value on the Dallas side, because Arizona is not playing like a historically bad team. They're actually competing here, even with the quarterback that got there, probably about a month ago at this point. They traded for him. So it's interesting they're having success. I really just think this was a flat spot for Dallas, and they'll bounce back. The defense will play better, and I really don't know that we've seen much from the offense yet, but 5.5 yards per play against the defense has played solid to this point. So I'm not too worried about them.
Good stuff. So, Cowboys Nation, don't worry too much about the Cowboys. They will be fine. It's just one loss, the early part of the season. Kind of moving over to another pair of one-loss teams. Ravens and the Browns are going up against each other in Week 4. The Browns' defense has been absolutely lights out throughout the first 3 weeks. Can you just kind of talk about what the Browns will need to do to find success against this Ravens team, and what you've liked from this Browns team so far this season?
Yeah, Browns have found success for sure, but they've also played Joe Burrow in Week 1, who was hurt, hadn't played all preseason, so it's about his low point pretty much. Kenny Pickett and Ryan Tannehill, neither of them have looked very good. So not to disrespect what they're doing. They've obviously been amazing, but they also haven't been tested that much. Yeah. We'll see if Lamar can do it. We talked about how the offense isn't what they wanted it to be, so if it's just the Lamar that runs around, maybe they can defend it if he's not able to pressure them in the passing game. And offensively, Deshaun Watson had the game he had to have against the pass funnel defense in Tennessee that has a great run defense, but has been awful against the pass. So if he would have struggled in that game, I think you stick a fork in him. But he came out, he did what he needs to do, had a great game, more confidence in him moving forward. The Ravens defense has played well, even with their injuries, especially in the secondary, where Geno Stone was a revelation in Week 2, helping to beat the Bengals. I think he's a little banged up now, too. So it's just, again, they just need to start getting healthy with all these guys getting hurt. But like I said, I thought they played well despite the loss last week. Should be a pretty competitive game here. The look-ahead line for this game was Baltimore -1.5. It swung all the way to Cleveland -2.5. Wow. Based on that Baltimore loss that was a little bit fake, like I mentioned, and based on the Browns looking good against a Titans team that hasn't been competitive. So that just seems like the market is kind of over-adjusting and maybe overinflating the Browns a little bit and and taking a little bit of the value away from Baltimore. I think it's going to be a close game.
Good stuff, RJ. Before we get you out of here, real quick, give us a comment on this Jets situation, because their season went from, it's going to be amazing, to absolutely horrendous right off the bat, and they're going up against the Chiefs this week, so it's not going to get any better. Just kind of talk about this situation that the Jets got going down.
Yeah, basically season loss. The offense can't do anything. Zach Wilson has been the worst quarterback in the league since he took over. I think Warren Sharp posted his completion percentage each year, and each year he's been the lowest in the league in completion percentage, which is the bare minimum you have to do as a quarterback is complete a pass, unless you're one of these guys that run around and pick up yards like Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson with their legs, and that's not Zach Wilson. So just complete, abysmal. They signed Trevor Siemian to the practice squad. Who knows if he ends up taking over at some point? Who knows if they engineer a trade, or even if they decide it's worth it? If you get Kirk Cousins in week 6 or 7, and then he's not able to go by week 8. Once he learns the offense, is the season already over at that point in a tough division with the Bills and the Dolphins, and in a tough conference in general? So I think it's really just about evaluating, the talent you have on offense, who's going to be there long term this year, and figuring out a new plan for 2024.
Good stuff, RJ. Let the people know where they can find you online and on socials.
You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at RJWhite1. You can find me online at Sportsline. All my work there, including Survivor content, best bet, teasers, all sorts of stuff is there all throughout the week.
Good stuff, RJ. Can't wait to talk about this week 4 on Wednesday next week. But you have a great rest of your week, buddy.
You too. Take care.
Good stuff. RJ White from Sportsline.com. Guy knows everything. He's throwing out things that I'm just like, oh, whoa, okay, he's going this way. All right, he's going this way. I can't. It's tough to keep up, but you know what? He gives us all the information, and you should probably go back after the show, and you'll be able to slow down the playback, and you'll be able to get everything that he has to say and more, and that'll be good looking into week 4. You can definitely get your picks in and head over to sportsline.com for a little bit more information on all of that good stuff. We got to hop into a break. When we come back, we're going to finish off the show, possibly college, possibly hop into some more NFL, some possible fantasy talk and all that good stuff, Bandy. So let's hit a break, and we'll be right back here on the Morning Blitz on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out, or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
With us today, Dr. Tracy Lowery of Best Vein Care of Huntsville.
When we evaluate a patient and they indeed have significant venous disease, most third-party payers, private insurance, Medicare, require us to treat every patient conservatively at least 90 days. Conservative treatment includes increasing ambulation, elevation of the legs, and the wearing of compression stockings. It's very common for folks to come see us in March or April wanting to have their veins fixed before they go into swimsuits starting in June. When we see someone in March or April, they're going to require at least 90 days of conservative treatment before we can even go to the insurance carrier to get permission to treat their veins. So if you think you have a venous problem, now is the time to come in and get a free screening so we can determine whether or not you need something evaluated. If you have a vein problem or you think you may have a vein problem, now's the time to contact us at bestveincarehuntsville.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Tom Abraham here for my friends at Alumni Hall. Alumni Hall is the ultimate shopping experience for Alabama and Auburn fans. Located right here in Huntsville, come shop the best selection of officially licensed apparel, hats, Yeti, accessories, and gifts. Whether you're heading to the spring game or shopping graduation gifts or just love to show your school pride daily, come see us at Alumni Hall. University students, faculty, and military receive 10% off in store, and you can earn cash back with our Hall Pass rewards. Alumni Hall, located in Bridge Street Shopping Center, or shop anytime at alumnihall.com.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures once again climbing into the mid and upper 80s. A couple of folks could see the lower 90s. An isolated shower is in the forecast, but most, if not all of us, probably going to end up staying dry. We drop into the low and mid 60s through the overnight. Early Thursday morning, maybe a little bit of patchy dense fog, but that's about the only problem we're going to have Thursday morning. Otherwise, a mostly sunny sky Thursday afternoon. Temperatures once again climbing into the mid and upper 80s. We're going to continue this trend as we head into Friday. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hello and welcome back, everybody. Before our interview with RJ White, Bandy told me, he was like, check your Twitter. And I said, okay, I'll just take a look at my Twitter. And then obviously we were talking with RJ White. I take a look and then my jaw drops to the desk, okay? If you were watching on WZZN TV, you'd probably notice, but I just found out with Bandy's help, with On3's help, and with Billy Liucci's help that Connor Wigman will miss the remainder of the 2023 season with a foot injury, meaning Max Johnson's the next man up. And honestly, if this was any other team in the SEC, I would be a little concerned, obviously. Losing a guy like Connor Wigman, he's starting to get into his own way, but it's not a bad thing when you have a veteran quarterback like Max Johnson coming in, and he kind of showed out against Auburn the first week he had in, which was week 4, and he was 7 for 11, and he had 123 yards passed with 2 touchdowns. And this is just, this is just type of football that Max Johnson will play, because if you look back in his time, whenever he was obviously a quarterback in, oh yeah, I still got the stats up. Okay. Whenever he was a quarterback at LSU, this guy was a stellar quarterback. He comes in 2020, obviously plays up against a top-tier Florida team, defeats them. He goes on to have a pretty successful season. Obviously, 8 touchdowns, 1 interception is a pretty good stat to have. Then the next season, he's a sophomore. He gets more reps. He's starting quarterback. 27 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. I mean, this guy, he is one of those dudes that where you would put him up at the top if he was a starting quarterback. He would be one of those guys that would be in the question for top 5 quarterback of the SEC, okay? He just has not found the time or found the ability to land as a starting quarterback on this Texas A&M team, but his time has finally come, and he still gets a majority of this season to show his skills as an Aggies player, and I think he's going to have a lot of fun with it because I said earlier, his tight end is Jake Johnson, okay? His brother. And if you guys watched the Texas A&M versus Auburn game, you would have noticed that the first touchdown that Max Johnson threw was also the first career touchdown for his little brother, Jake Johnson, and it was a 22-yard pass right up the middle, and he was able to score a touchdown and finally start separating the points from this Auburn Tigers team that honestly has not been stellar on offense at all. And that's a type of scenario where you look at the quarterback position and you don't know, honestly, who would be that guy. Max Johnson would honestly be better than Peyton Thorne. He'd be better than Robbie Ashford. But he landed in Texas, and now he's on this A&M team, and now he's finding his time to start. And now I think that the Texas A&M Aggies are going to be fine, especially because they go up against a Arkansas team who's been struggling on defense. However, their offense has been their bright point, so it should be a heck of a game we're going to be watching on Saturday between the Aggies and the Razorbacks. But moving on past that, Bandy, we've got some spectacular football games this Friday. I'm very much looking forward to it. Not because I'm off, okay? Not because Sparkman's not playing, okay? I finally get a breather on, calling touchdowns. But we still get, some spectacular games from Buckhorn as they go up against Guntersville. They're going to be at Guntersville. Tom Abraham will be on the call. If you guys can't make it out, 97.7 ESPN The Zone's the place for your ears. On top of that, we're going to have Madison Academy versus Madison County. Didn't know these schools were different until 2 years ago when I finally, started coming to this area. But, Madison Academy's been looking stellar. And Madison County's been, doing their own thing. Been playing pretty decent as well. And we're going to have one Mr. Scuba Steve calling that game at Madison Academy. And then Huntsville versus May Jemison. Bandy, you want to try and preview this game? Because you're going to be the guy calling this one.
Yeah, we're going to be on the one that calls since, Randolph's is on a bye week this week. So it'll be me and Mr. Drew D. Armin on the call for that over at Milton Frank.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest, I haven't had a chance to watch Huntsville this year because all my focus has been on Randolph.
Exactly. And
But from what I've seen, it's a unique style of play.
Yeah. Yeah.
From what I've seen. So it's going to be an interesting call.
Should be an interesting one. We're going into these calls. We usually know these teams, and now we're getting thrown into these other teams. I'm excited to see how you do it. I'll actually get to listen to you this week.
That's forcing me to adapt.
You got to adapt, man. That's the whole thing about this business. That's what we got to be doing. Thankfully, I'll be able to actually listen to you as well as Tom Abraham, as well as Scuba Steve this weekend, and it's going to be pretty spectacular. That's where your guys' ears need to be for some high school football this upcoming weekend. Me and Bandy talked plenty of NFL, plenty of college football. We're going to come back at it tomorrow, talk a little bit of the same, as well as hop into some Ryder Cup talk with one Mr. Jonathan Liggett from Cherokee Ridge Country Club, because that is right around the corner. It's going to be a lot of fun in the golfing world. For me and the Bandiman, we'll see you guys in 22 hours here on the Morning Blitz on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Buckhorn Youth Sports was created in 2018 to provide kids in our community the ability to compete at every sport possible. We offer